living with your parents and having casserole at home.
Yeah.
Well, no, then he could call himself a cook, right? There it is.
I learned that last week. There's a difference between cook and chef.
So, Cole, what's harder, playing?
You're just always passionate about comedy, like, and it's like, I'll tell you why. Because I'm shy and I like. That's why I do it.
I think about that chick, and we don't have to talk about the joke, but
No, are you talking about the butt plug one?
Yes.
For as long as you did, because you were too good not to, in my opinion.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate that. We're definitely going to clip that. Welcome to this episode of the Confidence Quotient Podcast. I am your host, Zane Kaufman. Welcome to this episode of the Confidence Quotient Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Carrillo, joined by my co-host, Zane Kaufman. We're already laughing here, man. We got a very special guest in the studio today. My boy, Cole. What's your middle name?
Brandon.
Brandon?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I thought it was going to be like Benjamin or something.
That's a little hurtful, but it's okay.
Brandon, we'll go with Brandon. Okay, so Cole Klayman, my boy.
There we go.
Dude, how long have we known each other? Since like...
We've met, kind of kept it on the internet, and then haven't seen you in a long time, but I feel like I've, known
dude, that's
you.
the cool thing about social media, dude, is like you just feel, I feel like I know you a lot better than we probably do.
I think everyone probably knows me a little more than they probably should, you know, on there. And so it's... No, but I mean, yeah, it gets a lot of hate, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, social media. It's like, no, it's cool to stay in touch with.
Yeah.
In the old days, you just would meet someone, I assume, and then never see them ever again.
Yeah, that is weird. I mean, imagine that, bro. Like, dude, you run into people all the time now. And the chances are, like, you might see them again. They might be friends of a friend. You might see them tagged in a post or, oh, okay, hey, I've seen this guy before. Dude, in the freaking 1800s, dude, imagine if you were conquering the West, dude, and you just happen to, you're like in Oklahoma and you're going by, and you just see somebody on the side of your freaking wagon. Dude, you're never going to see that person again.
You could, That's why people were killing people. You know what I mean? You could just do it.
You could.
You could just kill. This is good. This is the way to start this, I think.
I think so,
If I saw you in the 1800s frontier, dude, the fact that you don't have an accent, I think, hurts you a bit.
You think so?
Yeah, I think you should lean into Carrillo.
Okay.
And you should, Carrillo.
I think so, too. So, like, my family is...
Mi amor.
Dude, but my family's always pronounced
Teach
it
a class.
Carrillo. Yeah, dude, I don't know...
Can't get that Y in there, can you?
Yeah, dude. If we're appropriating anything, I apologize, but that's just how it is. Dude, my great grandfather was the president of Costa Rica.
That's
And he's
amazing.
My dad is Italian, Spanish, and Costa Rican. My mom is Filipino.
Here it is.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, there's a couple of things going on.
Yeah.
Does that make you a mutt, or does that make you international?
What's the difference?
I mean,
Makes them exotic.
that's what I'm looking for right
Okay,
there.
there
Makes
you
them
go.
a catch.
Well, guys, anyways, Cole
Sorry.
is a comedian and was a former quarterback. I think though, like once you become a quarterback and you have that title, you're a quarterback for life. I think.
I could see that.
I think that's the way that works.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk to anybody. You played at a high level in college. I played in college, dude. You run into your left tackle, and he will tell you, bro, I was a quarterback in 6th grade. I think anybody that's ever thrown a football in any sort of organized setting, you can start to identify as a quarterback maybe for the rest of your life.
I mean, you can identify as a lot nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you throw a tackle eligible pass, you're a quarterback now.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's. I wish I could still tell people I was a quarterback. That was fun. You know?
Yeah.
Just be like, I'm a quarter, and they're like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's and now you're like, I live with my parents, and they're like, that's not as cool. You know, it's not quite as cool as the
Well,
quarterback
not cool to
thing.
them. It might be cool to you. You know what I mean? You're a family man.
It's cool. Yeah, no, I like casserole. You know, I like that.
Yeah,
my mom
dude, because if you were living by yourself, no chance you're making casserole
no.
at all.
No,
and if you were, I think that would actually be more weird than you living with your parents and having casserole at home.
Yeah.
Well, no, then he could call himself a cook, right? There it is.
I learned that last week. There's a difference between cook and chef.
Yeah. So, Cole, what's harder, playing quarterback, or standing up in front of a group of 100, 200, 300,000 people and trying to make them laugh?
Playing quarterback is 100 times more difficult than stand-up comedy. 100 times more difficult. Because, I mean, they are similar in that, you're performing, you kind of have the plan in your mind of what you're doing. You are reacting to a certain extent to what's going on. But when a joke bombs, it's silence. When I mess up on the football field, I get a concussion. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the same at all.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh man, I bombed. It's like, yeah, but you go home in your car and you're fine.
Yeah.
Like football's brutal. And it's like, that's what was so interesting is people always ask, like, what's it like to like not do well on stage? And it's like, dude, I have bombed in front of thousands of people playing football where it's not just me, it's my teammates looking at me like, dude, come on, get it together for 4 quarters.
Yeah.
And you've thrown 4 interceptions and you're like, the reason everyone lost is because of me. With stand-up, if I lose, it's just me.
Yeah.
They're like, get them next time. Like, it's way easier.
Yeah. Did you ever struggle with, I know I did, like identity being tied to performance?
I don't think I'll ever shake that. I don't think I'll ever shake that. I think people will tell you should, but people will tell you a lot of things too. People will tell you that, anger's not good. And I think sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
But I know for me, it's an incredible motivator.
Yeah.
So you got to like kind of harness it. And I don't know, is it wrong to take pride in your work?
Yeah.
Like nowadays, it's like you can't even say that. He's like, oh, that's not, my work isn't who I am. It's like, well, you spend 75% of your waking hours doing it. So it kind of is you a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. But
take some ownership in what you're doing in your life, right?
It's like you get one of these bad boys, dude. You get one.
Let it rip.
Let it rip,
Rip it,
dude.
rip it.
Say some wild shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yell at some family members. I don't know. Do something. Mix it up, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, people playing it safe.
People are doing that. People are doing that without that perspective. So
right. Yeah, they're just drinking.
What do you think? What do you think had it? Yeah. What do you think made you have that worse with the identity to performance thing, or maybe not even identity to performance, but self-worth to performance? When you went out there and did well in football versus doing poorly in football, or doing well in stand-up versus doing poorly in stand-up?
Oh, I mean, I honestly think it begins in a good place. I think it begins at a young age getting praise for something. And then when you're not receiving that praise, you're just you're chasing it. So you want to, and whatever is your preparation and your fitness and your whatever from a football perspective, like chasing that. I don't think it's started in a bad thing, but when you're not receiving that, you do feel the void, like the embarrassment almost. And the truth is, no one cares about you all that much.
Yeah.
No one cares. But in your head, you're like, oh, I didn't perform to the level that I know I'm capable of. Like, people don't love me. It's like they never loved you. No one did. So just, I don't know. I don't know if that's nihilistic to talk like that, but it's like, just, I don't know. Do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And what I like to do and what you like to do and what I assume you like to do, Zane, is what you do for,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's always interesting too, because they talk about this in football. You have a helmet on. You can, in a sense, hide behind that a little bit. Everybody's, I think the number 2 biggest fear for anybody is public speaking and getting up in front of that. Did that transfer over? Like, is there a, hey, dude, I've played in front of a few thousand people. Like, I've done well, I've done poorly. But either way, like, I've conquered that. And now it's easier for me to stand up and get in front of people in that way.
For sure. Football gave me a lot of confidence when I first started with this. But also, I've always done public speaking. I've always done like performances, I went to this like really weird LA elementary school where we like called our teachers by their first names and weird. It was like weird. Like my dad like wanted to pull me from that school every second. But what was good about this school is that while we didn't learn things like math, we did like do plays and things. So I'm like this little, thick little kid walking around doing Shakespeare and like singing song. I did like a solo in front of like, probably 800 people when I graduated as a 6th grader. You know what I mean? So like they pushed you in that way, which I think honestly may help you even more if you can effectively communicate to large groups of people and like have confidence in what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a rare skill.
Yeah. I think the earlier that you start that process of risking things, getting out in front of people, embarrassing yourself, failing, it becomes a lot easier to have a higher risk tolerance as you get older. I think some people, and this is, obviously everyone wants to talk about parenting these days, how, you're shielding your kids from failure and and all those sorts of things. But the younger that you can start getting out there and messing up, you're setting yourself up for a lifetime of, hey, dude, I'm going to take a risk and I'm going to bet on myself, and you're going to set yourself up for a lot of great things.
No, that's what it is. And I was going to take it there too. Is like, I have the most supportive parents in the world, dude. And a lot of people who do what I do hate their parents, don't speak to their parents. It's like rare. Like that was the weird thing at first with stand-up was I don't hate myself.
Yeah.
which is rare.
Yeah.
It really is. I know that's like a weird kind of flex, but it's like
Dude,
you don't fit in.
It's crazy,
really that
like
well.
how many comedians, like that's their personality. I went to I was in Dallas a couple weeks ago, and we went to a comedy club. There was 4 comedians that came up. Every single one of them, it was like a self-loathing therapy session. I'm like, bro, I left the show feeling bad for all of those people. Like,
Yeah.
dude, like it wasn't even funny. Like I just started feeling bad for them.
Yeah.
And I think it's good that you have that differentiation of like, dude, you know, I do this because I love it, not because I hate myself and my parents made me feel like crap growing up.
Yeah, and there's a way to do it, right? There's like self-deprecation, or making the audience feel okay because they feel better than you in a certain way if you're being vulnerable about your shortcoming. But there's kind of 2 ways to get there. There's the first way, which is I hate myself, so I don't care anyway. And then there's the second way, which I hope I have, which is I can be honest about my shortcomings because I'm going to be okay in the end, and we can all come together and talk about how we're human and how we fuck up.
Yeah.
But it's got to be kind of one or the other. And thankfully, like I said, like, dude, my parents are so supportive of this weird kind of dream, kind of weird, like, and I'm not anything I did to deserve it, just dumb luck.
Yeah.
To
Well, was it always like that? Because I know that your dad was a writer. You know, he was kind of in that L.A. Hollywood scene even before you were born, obviously. So did that help, you think?
Yeah, and it helped because my dad's he's like a dude. You know what I mean? He's not like some, I'm sorry, like dorky writer.
Yeah.
Like he's like a.
He's got that dog in him.
I could see both. I could see like a big, strong dude who's also like, yeah, this is, I like to cry at movies sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cool thing like that. And my mom is super funny too. So it was like, I never wanted to do this, but it was just kind of a natural,
So many people think of like comedy in different ways. Like when I think of comedy, I just think of like something I see on, Instagram, or maybe like a comedy special I'm watching. I'm like, man, that's funny. You know what I mean? And he was talking about it earlier he went to all these, he saw these comics, and maybe they were funny, maybe they're not. He kind of walked away like, hey, I kind of feel bad for this person. I know that you attack comedy in such a different way than what I maybe perceive comedy as. What is the process of like making something funny?
Oh, man. Well, I'll say this. Everybody does it differently. And I attack it the same way I did the quarterback stuff, which is like understanding the mechanics of it, understanding like the defense or the audio. You know what I mean? Like, I think some people just let it rip. Obviously, they write, but I think some of them let it rip. But I mean, in terms of comedy, the integral part of comedy is surprise.
Yeah.
Right? It's pattern disruption. You're setting a pattern, and then you're shattering the expectation of the audience. It's pretty simple. And you're funny, you do it intuitively. But there is a science to it.
Yeah.
And I know comics probably don't want me to say that there's a science to it.
Yeah.
But there is. Now, can I teach somebody how to do stand-up comedy? Yeah. Can I teach you how to be funny? No.
Can anybody be funny?
I don't think so. I think it's like sports. I think a guy like Kirk Cousins, he's one of the, probably top 12 or 15 best at his job in the world. But when you watch like the QB documentary on Netflix, he just doesn't have the same God-given ability that Patrick Mahomes does.
Right.
Like there's some guys in comedy or acting or singing or just any of the arts that you're like, I can't really ever do that. That's just a different gear. You know what I mean? That person just kind of was born with it and kind of has it. But then there's other people who, like, I don't know if you know Mark Normand.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a phenomenal writer. Phenomenal writer. Is he the most gregarious, charismatic person in the world? No. But he would tell you that he's not. But he still does it. And then a guy like Sebastian Maniscalco is really a comic actor. Half the time, he's not even telling like set up punchline jokes. He's acting it out for you.
Physical comedy,
They couldn't be more different stylistically, but they both sell out clubs and, for Maniscalco arenas.
Yeah.
So can anybody be a comic, but not everybody's funny?
Yeah, I mean, you can be mentally. Dude, go to an open mic one time. You'll see. You'll see the guy outside, begging for change, and then 15 minutes later, he's talking about, airplane. I don't know. You know?
Yeah. Do you think that because I think that Kirk Cousins could be funny. Like there's things that Kirk Cousins does that is funny. Is it more
he
of
was,
like
he
the
was definitely
consistency?
funny. I just don't know if it was intentional.
Maybe that's
Okay.
it. Like people are funny, but maybe it's like the consistency that you say,
Yeah.
oh, that person's funny or not. I don't know.
And my dad has this saying, like, funny people don't know they're funny.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the characters that I talk about or that I write about, these people do not know they're being funny, but they are just hilarious.
Yeah.
The way they live their lives is just hilarious. And then there's people who are intentionally,
Right.
And those people hopefully become comics and entertain people.
Yeah.
And
Well, I love the analogy of comics to quarterbacks because there's a lot of different styles, obviously, of comedians, just like there are a lot of styles of quarterbacks. The bottom line, though, like you're saying, is that whether they know it or not, or they're intentional about it or not, there is an art to it, and there is a science to it, and you just have to get a ton of reps. What is different about this day and age and your ability to get more reps than what it would have looked like maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago?
oh my God, dude. I mean, I obviously wasn't doing this 10 or 15 years ago,
Right.
but I just know the power of the internet and having a camera on me at all times. People back in the day, 30 years ago doing stand-up, they didn't have like a camera that they could look and monitor their own performance and like listen to it over and over. I mean, you had tape recorders, but it's not the same. Like I can think of a bit in my mind that I don't even know if it works or not, put it on an Instagram story, and it happens in my car like that. I don't have to go to the club. I don't have to do anything. And
You get instant feedback.
Yeah.
you get instant feedback. So I think that old adage of it takes 10 years to get funny, which is a very common kind of moniker of stand-up comedy, I think it's going to take far less if you do it right.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking. I'm not, I'm not selling out the funny bone and,
but
Colorado
dude, you
Springs, but like I
No,
hopefully.
but you write like funny skits
Well,
though.
the other,
You know what I
part
mean?
of it too is like through social media. Now, you shouldn't attach your validation to that, but you have been validated through social media that you are funny.
Right.
Yeah. Talk about that. Talk about the process too of like how you started getting into comedy and like how that first kind of like wave of validation kind of like just kept prompting you forward.
Well, it started when I was playing at Abilene Christian and I wasn't the starter.
Right.
And like I'm talking about, like I was kind of pissed off. I was kind of
Dude,
whatever.
I think backup quarterbacks from a JC are probably the funniest people on the planet.
Yeah, because it's just this weird.
I don't know how that happens, but dude, I don't know a backup quarterback that was at a JC for a year or two that isn't funny.
Yeah, because the JC thing is just wild in general.
Yeah.
And you're kind of outside of it because if you're a quarterback, oftentimes you didn't go to a JC for academic reasons
Right.
or anything else. You
Yeah.
went because like you wanted an opportunity. So it's kind of you, and you're just commanding everyone else, and you're like, this is hilarious. Like
Yeah.
I went to
Yeah.
El Camino, which I
Right.
absolutely loved, but like it was fun. I'm the one, me
Yeah.
and the kicker, like the one white kids on the team. And we're just like, doing our thing. And then you go to, you finally get an opportunity, right? This is like true comedy. You finally, you're like, oh my God, I just, trying to get an opportunity at junior college. You get there and they're like, oh, you're not going to play. So it's just like this hilarious, you're like, oh my God, I just did all that just to, you're getting your tuition paid for, but
Right.
just
Yeah,
to
yeah.
sit. But,
So you're either going to be a D1 starter or you're going to be a comedian.
yeah, I have a saying is that there's nothing that leads to a successful career in entertainment better than a failed athletic career. That is, look around, like all of them, all of the guys who had some creative inclination who it didn't work out on the field.
Yeah.
They all go, oh yeah, I'll be an actor. My real passion was acting actually. Oh, clothing, they
Yeah.
always do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get to Abilene Christian, you're the backup there. Things aren't going the way that you thought they were going to go or had planned. And then you're like, dude, let me just start being funny, actually.
Yeah, and it was like that place for me was so great, and I actually enjoyed it. But it was such a culture shock
Yeah.
early on for me that as a kid from LA, like everything was funny to me. Like that we had to go to chapel and we had to do all these things, and like nothing against anybody's, but it was just culturally, the South is very, very different.
It wasn't a complete, wash with the chicks there, though, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you
well,
went viral, right?
Yeah, and sorry, I went off track, but yes,
Just a
I was
little
kind of
bit.
pissed off, and I made some videos.
Okay.
Tell me about the video.
Okay, so the video that first went off, and it was weird because this never happens. It was like the first video I ever made. Was I was recruiting the freshman girls in the cafeteria. Let me explain. Okay.
Yeah, please do.
I pretended to be a coach, and I, idiotically put on our team's logo and gear. And I went and I had a clipboard and a whistle and a pen in my ear and a hat. And I was going up to girls. I was like, hey, we really like you as a prospect. We're thinking like you're like maybe a second or third round pick. You know what I mean? Because that's just how we would talk. We're guys.
Recruiting them to what?
Okay. All right,
you know what I
mean?
okay.
No, not for the team. No, just
right.
for the roster. No, I'm kidding. and Barstool picked this video up.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
And it went big. And I got called in immediately to the school, to the team, to the whatever. And they're like,
there's
it's a Christian school.
Yeah, there's a code of conduct, I'm assuming.
Yeah. And I didn't
Can't be
follow
having
it.
things going viral.
And you certainly can't be advertising the school that you're at, talking about all these things.
Yeah.
So what was that conversation like? I can just imagine this, bro. Like you're in the principal's office or the dean's office with the head football coach.
It was weird because they were like, you need to pull this down immediately. And I'm like, I don't think you know how the internet works. Okay, this is out of my hands now.
Yeah.
It's out there.
It's out there.
Barstool
bro.
posted it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like my job. They're like, no, you need to. It's like, okay, good luck with that one. You know what I mean? So
they're just out of touch. It's like those congressional hearings when they're talking about Mark Zuckerberg and how secure the internet is. Like, dude, he's not have control over that. You don't have control over who's now. You don't own that content anymore.
No, and it was weird. It was like bittersweet because at one moment you're like, wow, millions of people are seeing this, like, and laughing. That's amazing. Yeah. But also like, am I gonna get in trouble? So it was like the bigger it got, the more I was like, shit,
Yeah.
So then I made
bittersweet.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a couple other videos. I don't think they did quite that.
Did you get in trouble? Like, did you get suspended or anything like that?
No. They, I'm sure they entertained it, but our other quarterback that week leading up to that game, this was during the season, hopped a fence and popped his ankle like out of its socket. So then we only had 2 quarters, and they're like, yeah, by the way, what we were saying, no, we need you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just in case something happens.
As they're gritting their teeth.
No, but the thing is, the football coaches, they're just coaches. Like, they loved it. When it first happened, they loved it. And then when they got pressure from the administration, then that's when they had to like change their tune.
Right.
But at first, like, they're football coaches. They're O-line coach. Like, they loved it. They thought it was
funny.
hilarious.
They thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, no, but then they had to be like, oh, well, morals. And So I stopped making videos for a while when I was there, and I was just like, I just got to bite the bullet and get this degree. But after that, then I kind of started leaning more into it. And now we're here.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's one thing to start posting stuff on social media, having some stuff go viral, but then to transition and say, okay, I actually want to make this a career, do stand up. What did that process look like?
It wasn't all that romantic, actually, because obviously you're fearful. You're like, this is a crazy job to want to do.
Yeah.
So I was like, how do I do this? So I started working for a production company, like a film production company, which was one of the best things I've ever done. I'm still there. I'm still working with my boss, who's been an incredible mentor to me in terms of just how the business, like, you got to understand defenses before you can understand where the openings are for you. You know what I mean? It's the same thing like that. And then I took a stand-up comedy class with this guy named Jerry Corley, who, if anybody's watching who's interested, he's absolutely fantastic. And comedians will tell you, don't take a class. And it's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. How are you going to learn something if you don't have someone better than you? You're just going to figure it out on your own?
Yeah.
I don't know. And it helped me tremendously. So I went on stage 3 times, did well, but didn't know why I was doing well.
Which is an issue.
And I was like, if this is going to be my job, I got to be funny on demand.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it's working yet. So I just stopped for a year and just wrote and just worked on it and just watched and just typed out long form of my favorite stand-up specials, looked at their structure and my structure And I go, wow, I'm overwriting. Why are my paragraphs like this and his are here? And you kind of see the, you know, you boil it down molecularly.
Yeah.
And then it starts to make sense. And the fact that people don't do this, who do stand-up, and they just wing it, it's like, bro, come on.
That's what separates a pro from an amateur. It's the same thing with playing quarterback. Like, you can go out there and you can throw a good pass on air, but to actually go out there and consistently be good and make a career out of it, you gotta watch film.
You gotta take it seriously. And it's like, yeah, we're having fun, we're telling jokes, like we're being silly, but like the way I look at it is those people in the audience are paying money to be here. And many of them are unhappy, they don't feel good, they got a sick kid, they got something. And I don't mean to be like holier than thou, but like it's not about me, honestly. It's great that I get the validation and I get to make people laugh, and that is truly one of the greatest gifts anyone can have. But you're here for them, bro. And I think some comics are like, no, they came to see me. It's like,
So is that where the comedy comes from? Like, is that the place that it comes from you? Like, dude, this is like my act of service. Like, I want to make this a great experience for these people that came to spend their hard-earned money for me.
Yeah.
Or no?
I don't know. I have a saying, you know, because people are like, why are you do comedy? Are you just always passionate about comedy? Like, and it's like, I'll tell you why. Because I'm shy and I like pussy. That's why I do it. But I do love that, like, it's a positive thing for the world. You know what I mean? That you can like literally brighten people's days. Yeah. You know, that's amazing. Yeah. But like, yeah, hit my line. No, I'm kidding.
So,
what's up?
I'm curious. I am curious about that.
What's up?
What has being a comedian done for your dating life?
At the moment, absolutely nothing.
Probably ruined it.
Okay, so you're still on the we're doing this for the other people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I'm Mother Teresa at the moment.
I'm Mother Teresa.
Yeah, because you think you're like, oh, this job's cool. People are gonna like this, and then they're like, you live with your mom and dad? Absolutely not. And you're like, oh, so I have to like actually turn this into a career first and like have a life.
Yeah.
And you know, my own insurance. You know. Yeah, no, but but dude, it's so fun that like at this point in my life I can convince myself that like just go pedal to the metal, just get as good as I can, just be consistent, do it every day, and like enjoy. It's fun. It's so fun.
Yeah.
So
no groupie experiences or anything like that?
No.
What's your thought on like hecklers? Because I've talked to other stand-up comedians, and it's like I feel like there's a mixed bag of like what they feel about it, and maybe you haven't been heckled. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you pro heckler or are you like?
No, I think you should shut the fuck up for the show. But yeah, no. But it is a good thing to learn, especially at my stage. Like I have to put myself. I'll perform at like bar shows a lot. I perform at like some of the shittiest gigs where people are just talking and people are like yelling stuff at you, and it's good for your training, but in general, like, does anyone like it? No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's different ways of like addressing it. For me, I don't usually like to go at somebody because I don't want to ruin the mood for everyone else.
Yeah.
So I'll try to keep it light, but sometimes like,
the
good thing is I don't think anyone's going to try to Will Smith me. You know what I mean? Like you kind of got to be buff to do comedy now.
Right.
Yeah. Like you're beefed up. You know, no one's coming up to you.
Right. So I kind of get to say I have a little more freedom just because people aren't going to, you know, do that whole game.
Yeah.
But
do the enforcer a little bit.
What about crowd work? I know like Matt Rife was a huge guy that has started to blow up, and you know, crowd work's been around for a long time, but it seems like it's becoming almost some comedians' entire thing. They don't even have written jokes anymore.
What it is you're seeing that because they don't want to do what's called burning your bits, burning your material. So they'll put out stuff that's real spontaneous.
Yeah.
Because it's never going to happen that way again. So they can put it because like think about it. If I'm Matt Rife, I have an hour or probably 45 minutes of written material. I'm doing the same jokes
right
at every show.
Boom, and I'm on tour. Boom, boom, boom. So if I start putting those on the internet,
right,
people are going to come to my show and they're going to go, I already saw that.
Right.
So that's why they don't do it. So that's why it looks like all he does is crowd work, which isn't true. But the crowd work stuff, because he's so good at it, he can put those on the internet.
Yeah.
And it can, exponentially grow your audience.
Yeah.
For me, the strategic move that I made was I'm not good enough or established enough to not post. So I burn bits every single day. I write jokes that I do in my act, they're going on the internet. Every single day. It's not crowd work. Just, if I get a piece of crowd work, that's fantastic. But like, if you're afraid of writing and you're like, I don't want to write. You're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna make it.
Yeah.
So I'll write every day. Because I love doing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll write jokes every day, put them out for free. Boom, 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 and hopefully people are like, oh, I want to see this guy live, and then you have that hour of material that no one has seen.
Yeah.
That they can come see you live.
Right. Has through social media now, like, have people like reached out to you to like, hey, do you come to this show because they saw something online?
Yeah, I will, but sometimes they don't live in LA. So it'll be like, when are you coming to, San Francisco? When are you coming to, Louisiana or something? And you're like,
Never.
probably not for a while.
Yeah.
No, I will. No, but it's like, I don't know. Not, I need about 300 more of you.
Yeah.
And then I'll go. But
dude, the other thing I'm curious too, and I've always thought about this too, like I've gone to concerts and, people like bands will go on tour and they'll play the same set 100 times on a tour. Same thing for comedians. Like you were talking about Matt Rife. Like he'll perform the same 45 minutes worth of material every night for 3 months.
Longer.
Yeah. But like, how do you not get burnt out by that? How do you keep it fresh and make it seem like every time you're saying the joke, it's the first time you've ever said it?
Well, you do get burnt out. You do start hating the material, I assume. But you got to do what you got to do. This is why you do it. You know what I mean? Is to go on tour and to do this stuff. And I think the more reps you get at something, you find little things out. And the better you get, because you're not thinking about remembering. Now you're so present because you know it so well that now you can get off script and find your way back because you're so grounded in.
Yeah, I gotta believe that not every single show is like exactly the same, or maybe not even like the same inflection of when, like how you're telling the joke or what you're saying.
Right. Sometimes it's different, and I guarantee you, a lot of these guys, they have an hour of written material, but if something in the audience happens, they may do 20 minutes of it and it leads somewhere else, and they had the best time on stage because it's all happening, live in real time. And 40 minutes of the stuff they wrote, they didn't even say, and everyone had a great time. So it's really like, feeling out the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the comedy scene like in LA? And the reason I ask this is, we've made a lot of comparisons between not actors, but comedians and quarterbacks. You and I, that's actually how we met, was we trained together, and we've talked about this in the past too. As a high school quarterback or even a college quarterback, you get together with all the other quarterbacks on a Saturday in your area. You guys throw routes on air. You're working with the same quarterback coach or doing all these same drills. And you kind of build a sense of community and brotherhood. In comedy, is it like that? Do people hate each other? Is everyone stealing each other's stuff? Like, what is that like?
It's almost exactly the same as that, as the quarterback fraternity. Because it's this really specific thing that's really difficult that a lot of people like to watch but don't know how to do. And there's a lot of failure involved that we could all bond about as quarterbacks, and the same thing with comics. It's like you're a specialized assassin. This is what you do. Is you go on stage and you kill. You're a quarterback. You are specialized. You go out in the field and you try to lead your team down the field and ultimately to victory. Like they're so similar, and people tell you that when you're first starting. Like Willie Barcena, a big mentor of mine, was like, it's the same as sports. He's a famous comedian. He was my baseball coach growing up.
Oh wow.
So he's helped me out a little bit, but he's like, you'll find sports and comedy is exactly the same, and it's exactly the same. Exactly the same.
How do you load yourself up with more material? For acting, for example, like they tell you, like, just go out and like meet as many people, experience all these different things, travel, do these things. So you sort of load up your psyche with all of these different experiences, and you've come across all these different personalities. Is it kind of similar with comedy? Like you just ingest so much material that now you can kind of piece it all together and make it funny?
And that's the part where it's like there is a bit of God-given talent to it, is I will say, and I don't mean to like toot my own horn or anything, but like in terms of just the writing and like coming up with stuff every day, like that's not a choice. That just happens. That just like people are like, how do you post all of you? How do you do that? And it's like, I don't know. I don't know. You just live your life. You try to do new things. Your brain just works that way. And if you understand the mechanics of comedy and how to put it into joke structure, like hopefully it just and you almost can't turn it off. Like Jerry Seinfeld talks about, like he can't turn it off. I can't really turn it off at this point.
You ever catch yourself doing that? Like you're just scrolling through and you're like, oh, dude, that would be a funny bit to do, and then you're just like riffing it off that, or like
in terms of like commenting on somebody else's video.
Yeah, like stitching that and saying and like making that a whole bit. Was that just something that you were just scrolling through and saw?
Yeah. Thank God that popped up. And I'm watching it in my car. I'm like, this is the most ridiculous thing
I've
ever seen in my life.
Some of the things that you're reacting to, I'm like, dude, what kind of For You page, bro, do you have, dog? Where you're
let's not get into that. Let's not get into that. When I plug in somebody's Instagram, like they're like, let me plug. I'm like, no, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll spell it. No.
I'm not looking at his Explore page.
It's like horrific, the things on that app. And I see all of them, so that's good. They just pop up. They just I don't know why. I don't know.
Well, dude, I remember, gosh, it must have been at least a couple years ago now, where your Instagram turned from, just you posting about football and all these other things to you started getting on your story every single day, posting consistently every single day. Was there ever that fear of, or thinking about like, what do other people think of me? I think one of the hardest things for anybody that's chasing after a dream to do is to not care about what their friends, family, people that have known them for a long time think about them.
Yeah, it was a combination. Like, again, the people who were in my life, my friends and family that are very close to me, were always supportive. So that helped. But the other people, I don't know. I was just in like a weird spot. Like I just dropped out of graduate school. I was at home, no job. So it was like, in a weird way, it was good that I had gone from like Division I quarterback, all that stuff, to like nothing. And you're like, oh, now I kind of always had nothing to lose, but now I really do. Mm-hmm. Now I can really just like, and again, it's people are like, how do you post every day? It's like, it's not I need to post it. It just, you think of something and then you just do it. You do it and it looks like shit. Like it's not highly produced or anything. I cannot believe people like it. I'm thankful that they do and that it's grown the way it has and hopefully continues to, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. It was like this weird thing. And at first people were like, I don't know, Yeah. But then eventually, when you get better, like that was what it was. When I started getting better and actually like eliciting laugh, then they're like, oh, this is fun, But at first it's just like stream of consciousness, like thoughts, premises. And they're like, is this guy mentally ill? Like, what is he doing? What is he doing? Like, I thought this guy had it together,
So you're kind of divorcing yourself from any idea of like, I gotta posture myself a certain way. I identified as a Division I quarterback, and now, dude, like, I'm just gonna be me.
Yeah, and I've always been goofy.
Yeah,
I've always been goofy. Like I, would make videos. I'll dress up in a dress. I don't give a fuck. Like I was always very, very comfortable being goofy. So that made it a lot easier. But I don't know. Like LA helps too. When you walk around LA and people are filming on the sidewalk, no one thinks twice. Mm-hmm. But in Dallas or anywhere else, people are like, what is he doing,
Why is he filming?
What are they filming?
Do we need to call the cops right now?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a perfect storm of things.
Yeah. That's what LA's for, dude.
Well, you're filming in the South. You also don't want to be caught by the wrong person, They're strapping up down there.
Right. No kidding.
So
who's your favorite comedian?
Oh my God. I love so many of them. Louis C.K. is one of them, but a guy that for some reason people do not know, and he is the funniest guy ever, is Adam Ray. If you don't know Adam Ray, check him out, dude.
Yeah.
He's in San Diego all the time.
Okay.
The nicest guy.
He's the one that's been doing the Dr. Phil stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Dude, and it's so funny because he does so much more than that, but that thankfully
took
is
off.
like it's taking off.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he is the coolest guy. Has been so nice to me. He probably doesn't even remember me, but like the stuff that he's told me, has really, really helped. Like really good advice. And he is just like put someone on a stage who's gonna get laughs. I don't think I've seen anybody else who's better at just eliciting laughter from an audience than him.
Yeah. What do you think about like this guy? Like we talked about this. I see this guy Theo Von.
Yeah.
And I think Theo Von is funny. He's like one of those guys who is funny, but not intentionally funny, like you were saying.
And dude,
then you watch his stand up, and it's
his
like
stand up was very underwhelming to me.
Yeah, because he's so funny and just like in this setting right here.
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen his special, but you were talking about Matt Rife earlier.
Yeah.
And I think Matt Rife is a good comic. I think his special wasn't his best work, but like it's great that he has a career and he's making millions of dollars doing this, and like that's great for him. You know, I wish nothing but the best for him. But the improv side of your brain, of like crowd work and like coming up with things quickly, is a different part of your brain than what stand-up is. Because improv, you're just thinking of the first thing. The first thing that comes out. It doesn't have to be the best thing. You just got to keep it going. Stand-up is like slow thought, deep thinking. What's the angle here that no one's ever thought of? And it's not something that you can really do on the spot as much. So like a guy like Theo Von, who is a great comic, like you can't take anything away from him. I think that kind of podcast style where we're just talking, that's a different thing than stand-up. And people think that it is. It's like, oh, if he's funny on the podcast, he's funny in stand-up. Different thing. It's a different thing. Doesn't mean there are many guys who do both really, really well. Including him. He's one of those guys. But they are different.
Yeah, he bro. His podcast stuff is hilarious, and I think you're right. Like it's a different side of again. It's like playing quarterback. There's quarterbacks that are really good within structure, and they sit
it's the same thing.
It's in the pocket versus
that's a great analogy. That is a great analogy of it. Think of stand up as 1, 2, 3, hitch, ball, check down. 1, 2, 3, boom, 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 and that's what wins you Super Bowls.
Science, methodical.
That is what is what wins you Super Bowls, right? But then there are guys who can run around and make these incredible plays, and you're like, that's just he's just making that up as he goes. And then there are guys who do both. Patrick Mahomes. Justin Herbert.
I saw a TikTok about that. Like, dude, before you go do business with somebody or do anything to get in a relationship with somebody, go play pickup basketball with them at LA Fitness. And see how they act. Are they the guy that do they call a foul every single play? Do they are they double dribbling? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what kind of guy are they on the basketball court or in sports? Because a lot of times it does carry over to how your character is.
100%. I mean, when you're dating a chick, you gotta, as an athlete, I know in my stupid head, I'm like, I can't have unathletic kids, man. I can't do that to them. Like, you know, I'm probably 5'11" and 3/4, which people tell me not to say. They just say 6 feet. But it's like, I'm being honest. But they're like, but it sounds bitch when you say that.
Well, the problem is also when you say you're 5'11", that people assume that you're shorter than that. So you might as well just say 6 foot, bro, because then they'll just say, okay,
I'm fucking 6'2", okay? Yeah.
I'm 6'2".
Yeah. Cut the legs out on the podcast. Yeah, man, I don't even know what we were talking about.
Yeah, well, you can't have unathletic kids.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, when you're dating a girl, you got to take her out, play basketball, give her a chest pass, a little too hard, just see how she kind of reacts. You know,
get her on a pickleball court or something like that.
You guys are overthinking it. Like, it's as simple, dude, as like seeing how see how they jog.
Yeah.
See how they jog, dude. Are those knees buckling? Let's see what the hand placement's like. Are they cheek to cheek? Are they are we kind of T-Rexing? Dude, that alone will tell you a lot.
Yeah. Just the
So
gait.
you're a zero lateral movement kind of guy.
Yeah, we're not really assessing lateral movement, dude. I think I got enough of that for the both of us. I just want to see straight line speed.
I will say this. I honestly believe this.
Insert a clip of Mike playing quarterback in high school right now.
No. But I'm actually being dead serious. You were an NFL caliber quarterback, in my opinion. I know that like you didn't put up the biggest numbers of all time for a guy who's your size that it would like kind of take. But like you as a football player, you really were like, I don't want to say but you had like the intangible like just playmaking ability and leadership. You had it kind of it all. To be honest with you, I'm just like
he's gassing you up right now.
I didn't even pay.
No, but I'm glad. No, but I'm glad that you kept playing for as long as you did because you were too good not to, in my opinion.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate that. We're definitely going to clip that.
He's putting that on
you should, dude. I'm telling you. No, dude, Michael's legit, bro.
Bro, if everything he's saying is true, bro, why are you throwing 3 picks to high school kids in our freaking Thanksgiving turkey bowl game?
Because I had to throw to dudes like you, bro.
Bro, the overthrows are crazy. That was not me.
Well, dude, you moved a little faster back then, bro. I kind of had that same expectation, dude, and you kind of let me down.
Who was your quarterback comp?
Dude, I was never like.
I would say Russell Wilson. Yeah, that's who I thought.
I think he's a little bit more athletic than I am, though. I would say more Drew Brees, but dude, Drew Brees was like a world-class tennis talent too. Not a lot of people know that. So, dude, I don't know, man. Everybody's told me if I was 6'4",
bro, you wouldn't. It didn't even have to be 6'4". If you're 6'2",
yeah,
if you're 6 something,
yeah,
because then you'd be passing the eye test.
Yeah,
that was your biggest hurdle, to be honest with you.
You know what was crazy? I don't know if you went through a pro day over at Abilene, but we had a pro day.
I didn't. Yeah.
You didn't? Okay.
No.
Well, we had.
You could have just said, we would have believed you if you said
I claimed
yes.
injury. I'm like, the hamstring.
Yeah, did not perform.
Yeah,
a hamstring injury.
Run a 5.140. For
well,
who?
dude, these scouts, bro, they're freaking tyrants, dude. So they'll I did my entire pro day training in LA. One of the guys that helped me out was Nick Shimanek, who was the quarterback at Texas Tech right after Pat Mahomes. And so, dude, he's like 6'3", so he never had this issue, but he was like, dude, Mike, this is what you got to do when they measure your height. You got to put your like heels together and kind of like give yourself a little raise. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Like, we even practiced it together. So there's a way to do it where it's not noticeable. So my pro day comes, I think the scout that was doing it was from like the Jacksonville Jaguars or something. And he puts me up against the wall to like measure my height. And I did the whole like heels together. I started to, I raised a little bit, and dude calls me out immediately, bro. He goes, bro, put your heels back down. And then not only that, bro, I think he did this out of spite. He didn't measure me like on the toppest, like the most high point of my head. Dude, he measured the back of my head, bro.
What'd you get?
Bro, I don't even want to say it, dude.
If it's 5'9", bro, I'm gonna throw up.
Bro, he put me at like 5'9" and like
No, he did
7/8, dude. And I'm like,
no, he
dude,
did not.
That the disrespect I felt.
You're
bro.
not. You're taller than that.
Dude, I'm
5'10".
Yeah.
You're taller than I am.
Yeah, I'm 5'11".
Yeah.
I am 5'11". Like legitimately 5'11".
Oh my god.
And dude, the guy did me so dirty. He did me dirty. But you know what? It's kind of like that's what I get for.
Yeah. Well, but truly, what's
thing.
the difference between 5'9" and 5'11"?
There's nothing
at
dude.
the NFL level. Zero.
Yeah.
You're not getting it over anybody.
Right. Well,
So-
and that's the thing too. That if you look at it, guys like I think last year, dude, Josh Allen had the most batted passes in the NFL. The guy's 6'5"
Right.
and change.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's a huge misconception too, and I could talk all day about that. But dude, like 80% of the passes that you throw in football, they go out through the B gap on either side. So you're not really throwing over anybody.
No.
And again, dude, if the guy if the defensive tackle's 6'6", bro, and he's getting his hands up, you have to be 10 feet tall then to completely nullify any batted passes. You know, that just doesn't really make sense to me. But that's neither here nor
Now,
there.
if you're 6'6" at quarterback and suck,
Yeah.
you suck, dude.
Totally.
Because I mean, how many times do we drop back and just based on timing, it's like 1, 2, 3, hitch ball. I have
Yeah.
no idea where this receiver is. He should be here.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I'm seeing 50%
Yeah.
of my I'm just like, and I'm sure
Right.
Drew Brees is like,
Same thing.
all kind of timing, like
Yeah.
understanding coverage and positioning and where his guy's going to be. Like
100%.
But the thing where they're like, oh no, you see, like, no, we don't see. When you're 6 feet or under, you're not seeing. But you're kind of feeling it. Hopefully.
Right. Yeah. Dude, again, and I feel like it's probably another great comp for being a comedian, dude. A lot of it you got to feel out. You're feeling out crowds. What's maybe the toughest crowd that you've had to work? Like, what was the dynamic of it?
I don't know, man. I mean, again, there are like shows that can we stop with the surprise comedy shows? That needs to go, where people are like eating dinner and they're like, by the way, surprise comedy, you came to talk to your dame and listen to this guy. It's like, and you're just sitting there and people are like just clanking of silverware, and like people are, half of them are drunk or whatever, and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? I should just pull my pants down or something. Like, I should get an indecent exposure charge. That would elicit more of a response than what I'm doing right now. And it's just soul crushing. But you need to get your soul crushed if you do this. You need to go out there and be like, if I bomb, I don't care. I'm gonna have fun anyway. Which I'm just starting to get to that point, which is so liberating.
Yeah. Yeah. If I die, I die.
Right.
You gotta, again, dude, you gotta grip it and rip it, dude.
Hey, Brett Favre.
What's what's maybe here's something I do want to know. Like, you've got up there, you've probably done a set with like a few other different comedians. What's the difference between getting on the mic after somebody that just absolutely crushed it? What's the feeling in your head versus getting on after somebody that totally bombed?
The misconception, I think, is like, I don't want to follow someone who just crushed. I think it's actually worse to follow someone who just sucked the air out of the room, because at least when somebody killed, like, the crowd is hot. They are there to laugh. They have you know what I mean? Like, your style is going to be different, and you have to like set the tone for what it is that you want to do. But that's way better than like just 3-0 burgers in a row, and you're like, just now I'm walking out to the slaughter. Like, that's way worse. Some people are like, oh, I don't want to follow him. And like, if you want to get better, follow the best person.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna make you bet. It's like,
yeah.
Get you some more wins,
dude. If you're in the back room and you hear somebody's just absolutely just murdering it, like doing so great, and there's maybe a certain type of joke or a certain type of angle that they're hitting on, does that change what your delivery looks like or anything like that?
I will say it shouldn't, but if
it's
you're
human nature, dude. I feel like it's hard not to.
It just depends. Like, if you're in a green room, it's kind of, some of the stuff is muddled. You can hear a little bit, but you don't necessarily know everything. But like, if you're in the audience or like in the room, you're definitely taking mental notes of what's going on, and like, you know, is there something I can call back to later? That did he talk to somebody or she talk to somebody in the audience, and there's like an inside joke that I can listen to and call back to later? Like, yeah, you want to you know, be present as much as you can, but I don't know. It just depends. And these top-notch comics, they know their stuff works.
Yeah,
you know, they know they're gonna go out there and smash.
Yeah.
So like,
who's maybe the funniest person that you've like shared a stage with at some point?
oh my God, so many guys. I mean, a lot of my friends, like I have a buddy who's from Dallas, Hank Gowdy, who I write with all the time, is the most brilliant comedy mind I've ever been around in my entire life. He's a great human being, but like doesn't do stand-up anymore. Just was like, this isn't what I want to do. I just want to write. So he writes. There's so many funny people that just, you know, and trust me, so many unfunny people who are like, I'm going to do stand-up. And you have to just sit there and listen to these fucking
jabronis.
God, yeah.
jabronis.
No, there's so many, like, you know, guys who I hang out with, like Nick Dervasula, Dante Gonzalez Abreu, all those guys. They're like up and coming. Nobody, you know, knows who they are right now, but like,
one day.
Yeah.
Now you do a podcast as well.
Yeah, I co-host a podcast with my buddy Mo Hassan.
Yeah.
The official Momentum podcast.
Yeah.
He's based out of Miami, so you know he'll do stuff primarily out there. But whenever he's in LA, I'll hop on, and it's fun, dude. It's great because he's trying actively to get in the NFL, and I'm doing comedy, so it's like a good kind of mixture.
Yeah.
And the guests we get on primarily are sports guys.
Yeah, you guys have had some great guests on.
So I get to like, I'm trying to figure out a way to do both.
Yeah.
To do sports talk and also do comedy, and I think they intersect.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
Pat McAfee's doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's an intersection there, but yeah, I don't want to lose the sports because I at the end of the day, football like such a big part of my life, and I love it so much that I don't know.
Yeah. What do you have coming up that we can tell people to go find you?
Oh my God, I forgot. No, I've got a couple dates. Jester's Court at the Hotel Cafe in Hollywood next to the Dream Hotel in a couple weeks.
Nice.
I've got a couple other shows. You can check my Instagram at Cole Klayman to see some of that stuff. I usually post shows and kind of ticket links and stuff like that. But yeah, just the social media accounts, the podcast. I'd like to start my own eventually.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what I got going on.
That's awesome, bro. Well, Cole, dude, we freaking have loved having you on, dude.
It was an absolute blast. It was good to come down.
We're gonna have to do it again.
Money.
And I know that we were talking about this off camera. Like you feel like you're not there yet, and I mean, what does even there mean? But dude, I'm proud of you. I'm stoked to see like how consistent you've been. It's awesome to see like how viral you've gone in a lot of different things. And dude, it takes guts, bro, to like put yourself out there on a day in and day out basis, bro. So it's cool to see that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You guys too. Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I the fact that people enjoy it is so cool to me. Mm-hmm. That people like, I can't believe it. I still can't believe that people like it. I still can't, and I'm so grateful that they do. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, give Cole a follow on Instagram, Cole Klayman, Klayman with a K.
With a K. Yep.
And
Spell that for us, please.
yeah,
Klayman.
there we go.
is.
Yeah.
We're going to not leave any room for someone
No
to misspell
interpretation
things.
there.
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching this episode of the Confidence Quotient Podcast. Again, Michael Carrillo with Zane Kaufman. And
We got to keep that first bit in there, by the way.
yeah, Cole, Brandon, Klayman.
Not Benjamin.
Let's do it. Now I got to.
Not Benny Clay.
I got 3 names. All I got to do is assassinate a president, and now I'm there.
You're there, dude. You got to be remembered somehow.
In the
Yeah.
history books.
Yeah, no kidding.
Dude, thank you, bro.
Yeah, thank you.